Just wait. We're going to turn it on. We're going to get going here in just a minute.
There you go. Turn it up.
Welcome back for our last segment of Roughing the Microphone on WQKR. We're going to get into some national football news, but before we do, every once in a while, we just have kind of an off-the-wall story. Like we've talked about it before,
Yeah.
What would you do in this situation if you were independently wealthy, if you were not bound? And every
You said it, independently wealthy.
yeah, which means you don't have to worry about
exactly.
money. You're not dependent on anyone for your financial
Yeah.
income. And every once in a while, there's like the opportunity of a lifetime that I wish that I had the money that I could just do this and take advantage of it. And I came across a story today. This has nothing to do with sports.
Yeah.
I'm a political guy.
Throw it in there. Story time.
Okay, story time. Yeah, we'll call this story time. We've done that before.
That's right.
But I read an article about how the Russian military is scheduled to do flyovers of American territory from today through December the 13th. Evidently, there's some treaty between, let's see, what was the treaty? It was signed in 1992, the Treaty of Open Skies, I think it's called.
Yeah.
To where certain times, the United States can fly reconnaissance missions over their airspace,
Yeah.
and the Russians can fly reconnaissance missions over our airspace, looking for military movements and things that may be of interest
So
to
every
them.
now and then they can go in and buzz the tower like off.
Well, not that much, but yeah,
There
it's
you go.
kind of that concept.
There you
So when I read this article, this is just the weird way my mind works.
Yeah.
And this probably doesn't surprise you at all that this is
No,
where my
probably
mind
not.
jumped to, because I told you before the show
Yeah.
what I
Didn't
wanted to
surprise
do
me at
here.
all.
This is the opportunity that if I could take a week off of work from December the 8th to December the 13th, I would find something of military interest around here. Fort Campbell in Kentucky. You told me there was somewhere over in Manchester.
Arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find somewhere that you think the Russians are going to be surveilling, taking
Oak
pictures.
Ridge.
Oak Ridge, yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
And just spend the whole day outside that facility, laying bare butt face down in the dirt, because how many times in your life are you going to get the opportunity to moon the Russians?
Moon the Russians.
I would so do that.
Yeah. I mean, hold up a sign says, "Here, kiss my butt," along with it. So that's a great idea. I mean, I really like that idea.
I mean, how many times would you get the opportunity? Not just you could go down and find some random Russian, but they're innocent.
Yeah.
This is the Russian military.
Yeah, this
and you get a chance to moon them or whatever it is. I would so do that if I did not have to work for a living.
Say Cold War. Here's my cold white butt.
Well, you
Yeah.
along the topics of this has nothing to do with sports.
Yeah, right.
Last week, how did we even get on the top? Oh, because you said we were rip-roaring ready to go.
Rip-roaring ready to
We
go.
got on the topic
It was the
of
RT
rating roughing the microphone, the RTM scale of flatulence.
Yeah.
And evidently it tickled the fancy of one of our listeners.
That's right. So,
Because at the top of the scale, the worst, the room clear,
Chernobyl.
was the Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And someone asked you a question this past weekend.
Yeah.
So let's get this taken care of. What was the question?
The question was brought to me, if you have a Chernobyl, can it actually be a Chernobyl if there's nobody else in the room to actually smell it? So is it a devastatingly room clearing Chernobyl, active, meltdown? But if there's nobody to smell it, did it really happen?
So this is a different variation of if a tree falls in the woods
or
and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Does it make a sound?
So if you release a Chernobyl
Yeah.
that would normally be a room clearing occurrence,
Yeah.
if there's no room to clear, can it be classified as a Chernobyl?
I'm going to have to go out and I throw this guy, I'm going to say no. Because you got to have one other person. You got to at least have an outside.
Someone has to be there to judge it.
Yeah, you got to have, what's the word I'm looking for?
An independent judge?
No, validation. You got to have somebody there to validate it.
Right.
That classifies.
Because
as
you can
Chernobyl.
never judge your own.
No, because
It don't stink.
Some people like their own brand. I mean, so some people like their own brand. I don't know why. Every now and then you just rip one out and be like, that ain't half bad.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good. That bean burrito I ate for lunch, that smells pretty good. So, it ain't quite roses, but you never know.
So we are the creators of the RTM flatulence scale.
That's right.
So your vote. Nobody around. Can it be a Chernobyl?
No. Can't be a Chernobyl.
I say no as well. There has to be someone that suffers.
Yeah.
There has to be someone that validates it's a Chernobyl by their actions.
A Chernobyl, Chernobyl in its sense, it devastated and killed a lot of people.
But it didn't kill anyone, I don't think.
I thought people died from the radiation.
I think it was I don't think anyone. I'm not sure, but I don't think anyone died. But they had to abandon the city.
They had to abandon the city, so somebody's got to abandon the room if it's going to be a Chernobyl.
That's right. So there.